this?
Oh, that's a cross.
Is this sauce? I want that. Christmas, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mean and cruel and nasty.
Brad used to be there in a
Now
chair.
the question comes around about what's the meanest thing? Yeah, just now. No, you don't. Water.
First time I tried it, it worked.
How interesting doing this sort of thing.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know?
No, I didn't think to bring one, and Raul's is broken.
Yeah, the Jimmy. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, where's everybody?
Okay.
That's why they have her doing that job.
She's been a mom longer than the rest of us. She's an old lady. All right.
Am I supposed to?
Okay,
I'm trying
I have to introduce this segment.
Okay, focus on Carol.
It's a lousy place to be
Good
sitting.
evening. I'm glad you could join us tonight. We're doing This Is Your Life. Mom and Dad, we know. We were there. We have a little introduction music for you from our good friend, Ed.
Take it away.
Good friend. No,
And brother.
No, you can pick your friends to be stuck with your relatives, you know. So, this is a little song.
He's mesmerized.
You're gonna have to stand over there.
No, they're making a tape. They're making a movie.
Yeah, I just wrote this thing today, or yesterday, so I really don't have all the words down, so I'm gonna read them. Okay. Oh, Raul and Carmelita, they got married long ago. Yeah, they got married 40 years ago today. And brother, let me tell you that they got right down to business and they started having babies right away. It was Gregory and Carolyn, and then they had another one, and he's the one who's singing you this song. Celeste and Mark came right away, and Ron came with a slight delay, and how much longer can this thing go on? We came boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, girl, boy, girl. We knew how to make a fuss. Naturally, there's 10 of us. And the folks had Sherry, who is just a bit contrary, and then Carrie, who is very fond of cats. Then came Three-Eyed Johnny, and then finally came Kathy, and we figured, well, then that's the end of that. But just when we all thought there wouldn't be another baby, well, the babies had some babies of their own. And so Raul and Carmelita haven't seen too many days when there was not a single baby to be found. We came boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, girl, boy, girl. We knew how to make a fuss. Naturally, there's 10 of us.
That's great. Speaking of mom and dad, where are they? Have they been banished from this?
Are you turned
Not
on
yet.
there? Are you on?
We're all set.
Okay. Now we're going to have a few questions quiet in the peanut gallery over there. And Uncle Bill is going to ask this question.
I suppose we should start with the oldest first. Carolyn, what was the first thing that you remember about this family?
The first thing I remembered is that my sister Celeste would follow me everywhere. And she was always sucking her thumb.
It wasn't my fault.
And she would never go anywhere without me. And Mother would say, you have to take her, you have to take her. She's your little sister, you have to play with her. And she made me play with her, and that's the first thing I remember. And I looked at her one day and she said, I'm 2, and I said, you're not either. I'm 3, so you must only be 1. And that's the first thing I remember.
What, now it seems like you started off with Celeste. Celeste,
What?
is that true?
No, the first thing she remembered.
She was always mean to me.
What's the first thing you remember, Celeste?
Just a bit.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. The first thing I remember, I'm gonna get you back. The first thing I remember, my first vivid memory, was when Mom and Dad bought us baking sets. We had the same sets, both of us. And Carolyn baked all of hers, and then when she got through, she decided to bake all of mine. Because naturally, since she was out of hers and I hadn't done mine, it was okay. So, and that's the first thing that I really remember. And I don't know how old we were. She was always mean to me.
Were you ever two, Celeste?
Me?
Was that
no,
true?
I was
statement?
born in 5.
You were born 5. Good. Carrie, you're the next in the line of the girls. So, what was the first memory that you have about this family?
Being born into the family or adopted?
Well, the first thing that you absolutely remember. Do you remember being born?
Well, the only thing I can remember is crawling around in what became Mark and Ron's room in the old house in Oklahoma. And it was tile floor, and there was a Christmas tree there. And I was crawling around stuffing wrapping paper in my mouth.
Stuffing wrapping paper in your mouth.
That's my first vivid memory of my being a child.
Eating paper.
That's some strange things.
Kathy, what do you remember?
Well, mine's better. I remember it was Easter and we were in the backyard and Dad was sitting over somewhere saying, "Come here, Kathy, come here," because there was an egg in the middle of the grass and he wanted to find it. And I walked over to him all happy and I stepped right on it and kept walking.
Ed, what's the first thing you remember in this family?
Well, I remember embarking on my great career of climbing. I remember being in my crib and climbing right out of it, and also embarking on my great career of falling straight on my head when I did fall and climb. That's exactly what I
He's
did.
been this way ever since.
Oh, that's what I did.
Is that what the cause was?
Yeah, it's all brain damage.
Ron, what's your first memory?
I'm not making this up. I talked to Carolyn about this. My very first memory, this is the honest truth. Who are all these people? They're pushing me around, telling me what to do. They take me over to their drawers and open them up and show me their treasures. And then they say, "See these? You cannot touch them." Honest. I have a break doing that. So why do you show me this if I can't have any of it? So naturally, what do? I wait till they're all gone, and I run to the drawer and I open it up and start playing with their toys. Then they come back and say, "Ronnie, you better not."
And you blamed it on Mark, right?
Mark was
Mark
actually older than
He was over.
Mark, what was your first memory?
My first memory is coloring when we lived on 14th Street. And I remember we were drawing on the table. The paper was all done. Mom got mad at us and we wouldn't go for our spanking, so she took off her shoe.
You stand still while I hit you.
By the time you came along, there were so many of us. She was a good shot. She just catches us like 10 different directions,
John, what's your first memory?
Probably sitting in a high chair. I had a high chair right by the pantry room on Guilford Lane. I remember throwing peas on the floor and Mom would pick them up. And I got shuffled off to everybody to be babysat. I had more mothers than anybody. And fathers too.
Yeah.
Carolyn mostly, I stuck to her like glue.
Yeah.
She was
He
my
used to
mom.
be so cute. What happened? He got
Took your
turned.
tracks, man. I followed
It's like any healthy sibling.
Carolyn, what was the funniest thing that you remember?
The funniest thing I remember now was when Eddie was little, they would always pick on him at school. And Mom said, "Kick him in the shins. If they pick on you, kick him in." Well, I never wanted to get that close, so I used to have this purse that you put tie. I put rocks in it. And so when they'd start picking on Eddie, I'd take that purse and I'd swing it around my head and bap him just like that. And that was actually the funniest thing I think I ever did.
That was.
That people didn't think it was funny, but that's the funniest thing I remember.
That is pretty amusing.
I suppose. Celeste, what do you think is the funniest?
Golly, we were always protecting Eddie. Always, always. I don't know what it was about Eddie.
Like you really needed it, huh?
He was great.
I came home from school one day. And there was a group of guys in our front driveway. And in the middle of this group of guys was my brother Ed and this tall redheaded kid. I don't remember what his name was. And they were wrestling and fighting on the ground. And I was so mad. Like, you don't fight my brother, and I took my purse, which was always full of pencils and heavy things, and I swung it, and I hit this guy on the back of the head, and he turned around, and he goes, and they go, it's a girl! It's a girl! He goes, you know, and they all went and left, and Eddie was so mad at me.
I had so many mother hens.
He was so mad at me.
Like a little chick, you know? I had. All the mother hens are taking care of me.
Carrie, what do you think was the funniest moment?
Probably when Lisa loved to kiss John. Because he was so cute. And so he goes, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll run, you chase me. If you catch me, you can kiss me. Well, we always caught him, and after a while, he finally decided, I don't like this game anymore. I don't want to play. That's my
Well, I kept catching me, you know?
Kathy, you don't have a funny moment at all?
Boy, your life was grim.
Didn't you put bricks in your purse and beat up your brothers?
No, I didn't.
I took your carriage
You didn't
apart.
kiss John?
Yeah.
I stuck you in it and you fell down.
Oh, I got a good one. John building a sport.
This was told to me that when I was small, John got a tool set for Christmas and took all the screws out of my crib. And when Mom put me in it, it fell apart.
I was witness to that. That was a true story. It's a true story.
Well, that was
Patty,
stupid
you
buying me
gotta
a
have a
screwdriver.
funny moment.
I couldn't put screws in this way, and the only way I could do it was that way. Of course.
Who's talking?
Should have known.
It's logical.
Well, that's the truth.
Well, actually, I have some funny moments. I don't know that I can pick out one funny moment. Probably the thing that I got the most laughter out of when I was real small was when I think it was Ron on his first birthday. Here we were all just anxiously looking at this huge, wonderful looking birthday cake. And he got to look at it first, and he proceeded to stand up and put his foot right in it.
I saw the video of that.
And it just cracked me up, you know. I thought it was really funny, and I laughed for quite a while. And I remember Mom picking him up, carefully making sure that she held his foot up so it wouldn't get all over everything, and running to the bathroom to go wash his foot.
She's putting it in my mouth. That's what she said. Eat this.
No, maybe that's what she should have done.
Lick this off.
And he's had his foot in his mouth ever since. No.
Mark, what was your funniest moment?
Probably when we were on Southwest 14th, Ron and I were fighting, was normal. And I think I went upstairs to where Grandma and Grandpa lived to wake up Grandma to tell her Ron bit me in the back. And when I got up there, I tripped on the top step and fell down, and she came and she said that it scared the devil out of her. And then later we were fighting again, and she came out yelling and screaming, and I remember turning to Ron and saying, well, the devil must have come back.
That's clever.
We were actually backfighters because after I bit him, I turned to run, and I knew I wasn't going to make it. I was going over the fence, and he bit me in the back. Literally.
Ron, what was your funniest moment?
Oh, I think, once again, Mark and I were just a twosome. And Grandma, that was kind of our hideaway, going up the stairs to Grandma's. And she had gone out. She says, now remember, I don't want you to touch this pink punch bowl of mine. Don't touch it. Well, why did they tell you about it? I probably never would have thought about it. So I'm actually picking the thing up, and I broke it. Mark, help me out. Will you tell Grandma that you broke it? She's really going to kill me. He says, yes. So Grandma comes home. She discovers the bowl is broken. She goes, who broke this bowl? I said, Mark did it. She was so mad at him. He was beating on the door. She locked him out. He's beating on the door. You broke my punch bowl. I said, no, I didn't. Ronnie did it. She turned around. Oh, if I could tell you the look that she gave me. Because well, we switched places, you know. She let Mark in and pushed me out. I remember that.
John, what's your funniest moment?
The funniest one. Well, Carrie was little. We always used to tease her. Ron did, and right when we moved here, and he always used to say, "I'm gonna tail because he still had an Okie accent. I'm a tail. And so you were ready to tell Mom as soon as she walked in the door. So Ron had got a broom, and he put on a pair of Mom's shoes, and he came stomping in the house.
My story. That wasn't
And
even here. That was
That
in
was,
Oklahoma.
I could have sworn that was here.
That was in Oklahoma.
Was that? I don't remember, but I just remember seeing him
Let
doing
Carrie
that.
tell us the
You
rest
were
of
a
this.
baby.
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
You remember.
And she came running down the stairs going, Mom, Mom, Mom.
Pick
like
another
that.
story.
No, because I remember
That's my
that's the
story.
funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, tell us
that
the
goes
story.
to another question.
Well, we'll save that for
Save
another
that for
question.
the
What-
That's mean for her, but that's funny.
well, all right, John. Then what was the meanest?
It all depends on how you look at it.
All right.
Point of view, it was terrible for her.
All right, that was terrible for her. And
That was
funny
hilarious
you.
for me. He was doing. I was loving it.
What's he dressed up like, Mom? Well, how did it end?
No, he just put her shoes on to make the sound that she had the high heels. You know? High heels on. So
Well, that's an interesting story in itself.
yeah, she came running in, Mom, Mom, and found out it was Ron and just totally obliterated. She was crushed. It was Ron there. It was so funny. I loved
It was,
that.
yeah.
I do remember that.
I don't think he does.
It was over.
Did you have a? I don't remember.
Kathy, I'm going to shift the order here. Kathy, what's the meanest thing that any of your brothers or sisters did to you?
I used to always want to kiss Ron, and he would never let me. I remember I went to kiss him once, and he pulled his wallet out and stuck it in front of his cheek, and I kissed his wallet instead of his cheek. He was mean.
That was mean. That was
She was
John, what about you? What's the meanest thing your brothers and sisters did?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Yeah, they were too good. I can't really remember anything mean, other than just teasing and stuff like that. There was nothing really bad.
They were all perfect brothers and sisters?
Not perfect. Well, I used to fight with them, but they never did anything overly mean.
What about other people?
I guess we'll just have to think of something.
After this is over, everybody's going to have to get together and get me.
Ron, if you really
We'll get him out of the basement after.
Carrie doesn't have a mean story now.
Carrie, you got to. Well, you can retell it.
Tell about how we used to call you Jack.
Well, I can tell. Well, Sherry used to ditch
Oh, the
me
jokes
all
were
the
out.
time. Well, she had the same problem that Carolyn had with Celeste. I was always supposed to play with Sherry, and Sherry would ditch me.
She'd run away from you?
Yeah, she had another friend over, and they'd take off and ditch me. So.
And you were left alone?
Yeah, but that story, I remember you did it twice. You didn't just do it once.
That's right.
The
Twice.
first time it was the broom, and I came in and cried, Mom, Mom, and it was Ron, right? And then he waited a while, and then he got high heels. No, Sherry wore the high heels, and she clomped through because Sherry was his accomplice. And I ran in again, and they got me again. And I was
Mommy, mommy, mommy. I knew they were going to tell on me anyway, so.
But they got theirs. They got me in big trouble.
Did they?
Yes.
Ron, what do you think the meanest thing that your brothers and sisters did to you?
I think that first thing that I said was probably one of the meanest things. They're always showing me their toys and telling me not to play with them. But let me think of another. Well, Ed, I can remember Ed would pick me up over his head and throw me across the room to land on the couch. At least he put me on the couch.
It was just bad aim. I was aiming for the wall.
Meanest thing that you remember your brothers and sisters doing to you?
Well, I guess I'd have to say Ron and I were fighting when we were on Guilford Lane. And I remember that he locked me out of the house, I was crawling in the bathroom window, and he jabbed me right in the eye with a broom. Right as I was crawling in the window.
Yeah, I did.
Real
too.
mean.
I was pretty mean.
Celeste, do you remember the meanest thing that anybody did to you?
Carolyn.
I knew.
Had to be.
Had to be.
It had to be Carolyn. She always hurt my feelings because she didn't. Mom, it was her job to look after me. That was her job.
Celeste the
Because
Pest.
I was the youngest. And she used to call me Celeste the Pest, and that hurt me awful. It just really hurt my feelings. That used to send me home crying. And I think that's why she did it. That was the meanest.
That was
It
the
rhymed. That was the
I
only
know.
reason
I know.
Yeah, Eddie, do you remember
That'll
anybody
make it that
doing
much more
anything
effective.
mean?
I'm sorry, Celeste.
Anything mean?
No, he was too big.
No, people generally didn't pick on me.
They were afraid of you, is that what it was?
Yes.
You know, they were either defending me or once I got to the age where I could defend myself, they left me alone. Generally, they didn't pick. Probably the meanest thing that ever things that a lot of the rest of us didn't. He kind of got special privileges here and there, you know. And he would take his arrows. He had a bow and arrow. He would take them and he'd shoot them over into the neighbor's yard and say, "Eddie, go get my arrow." And I'd have to climb over the fence, go get his arrows, you know. I did it, you know. The fact that I would even do it. But then I looked up to my big brother, you know, at the time.
We need to send a copy of this to Greg. I think.
Carolyn, what's the meanest thing that they did?
Well, Eddie and I work at Friends, and in high school we did a lot of stuff together, but one day he tried to choke me. He came up from behind me and he was going to choke me. And he had his hands around my throat. And I had this glass of iced tea and I almost broke his nose because
That's because you're both adopted.
Okay, wait. And you know what she said? Okay, so then I take this glass and I hit you in the head with it, and you're bleeding all over me on top of trying to choke me.
Like I meant to.
You did.
How dare you bleed on her?
You said you almost broke my nose, and I said, well, you were trying to choke me, and you were bleeding everywhere, and Mom got really mad at me. We had to give you stitches.
Administered them here. Almost. By the time they got me to the hospital, see, I've been holding the thing closed the whole time. By the time they got me over to the emergency room, it had pretty well sealed itself. So we just left it.
So you remember
the doctor
that I
said
gave
it would be more of a scar if they put stitches in than if they didn't. So they just
But
left
so
it.
now you still have a
So
scar.
that's what happened.
Now I still have a scar.
It's distinguishing.
I'm sorry. I just say I'm sorry to everybody.
Terry,
I don't think she ever said that, though.
what was your most memorable vacation or family outing?
I guess when Mom and Dad took me, John, and Kathy, and Sherry to New Mexico. We went to Santa Fe and Taos. That was fun.
Remember how old you were then?
No, but we had pictures, and it had to be in the 70s because the clothes were ugly. Ugly shags.
Carolyn, what was your most memorable vacation?
Oh, we all went to Lake Texoma. We were going on this big camping trip.
Oh, yeah, I
And
remember that.
In the wilderness, and Mom was the whole time there were mosquitoes everywhere, bugs all over the place. And so we had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And here we were all sleeping around in this tent with Mom. And I went outside. Oh God, there she went again.
Okay.
We were
So we
talking
had a small
about.
interruption there. A child fell down the stairs. We're taping now. We're taping now. Hey, this is my part, you guys.
Hey, boys.
So, I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It was really scary and dark, and Mom and Dad insisted that we go to this wonderful trip because we were going to have so much fun. Well, by the campfire, I swore I saw a headless dog. I swore there was a headless dog there. And I ran back and I woke everybody up. Everybody up. I woke Mom up. I woke everybody up because there was this headless dog there. And Mom couldn't get us calmed down, and so we ended up sleeping in the car. The next morning when I got out of the car, I looked by the campfire, it was a glove. That's my most memorable vacation.
Ron, what was yours?
We won a trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was to see some property. So we were all coached. Don't say anything. When you go on this tour of this property, nobody say a word. So anyway, we were seeing the town, and we got up on this little hill, and we got out, and there was a little incline, and then there was a path, and there were bushes, and then you could see the city. Well, John gets out of the car, and he's just a little bitty type, little toddler. He starts running down that, and we're just all, oh, look at John. He starts running down the incline, and he keeps going. He couldn't stop. He did a somersault right into the bushes. We all just burst out laughing. Nobody went to go get him. Just started laughing our heads off. That was great. I thought it was so, I don't remember. That's great.
Celeste, what trip do you remember?
I do remember a couple of times at places, but the thing that I remember best that was the funniest was when we moved here to Colorado. I came with the folks, and we were staying at Holiday Inn down, this was the downtown hall.
Colorado Boulevard.
Yeah, okay, Colorado Boulevard. Anyway, we got there at night, and it was late, so we all went to bed. The next morning, we opened the curtains up because everybody wanted to see the mountains. We wanted to see the mountains. And Kathy goes over to the window, and she looks out, and it's all cloudy, and you can't see any mountains. She goes, Mom, somebody stole the mountains! She thought they were gone. It was so funny. 5.
Do you remember that trip, Kathy?
That was fun.
She's gonna say no.
What's the trip that you remember the best?
We never took any trips.
We ran out of money by the time you got there.
We just went to New Mexico.
We went to
New
New
Mexico.
Mexico. We did Oklahoma.
All the time? But you
Remember
lived
we stayed in
there.
the Holiday Inn and everybody went
I
swimming?
remember one time we went to Oklahoma and we were gonna stay till Saturday, boy. We were gonna stay till Saturday. And Friday morning, Mom comes in and she's sweating like you wouldn't believe, and she says, "Pack your things. We're leaving right now."
That's because Grandma would not let us put the air conditioner on because she was hot. And she had a sweater on. We were dying. We were sitting on the porch. Remember this? We're on the porch and she comes out. You kids put your sweater on.
Oh, she always told
Grandma,
me
it's
that.
hot. And she goes, when your mother was younger, they never talked back to me. We went in the house. we just said that. Grandma did. She said either go in the house or put a sweater on. And she said that to us. And your mother never talked back to me. And so we got. Grandma, okay. So
Is that true? No. I didn't think about
Mark, what trips do you remember?
felt so bad.
We went to Texas. That's the one I remember best because we stayed at some seminaries. It's in the off season, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Greg and his friend had a big inner tube and they were throwing it across the pool. And they'd skip across the water and his friend would pick it up and throw it back to Greg, so I tried it. And when I threw it, I went in with it. I wasn't swimming yet, I was too young, and I remember almost making it to the top of the water. I could just see Greg, and then that's about the last thing I remember.
That's the last thing you remembered. And
Well, next thing I knew, I was upstairs.
John, do you remember any trips?
Yeah, I remember one time we took a trip to go see Carolyn up in Detroit. Or Michigan, or wherever you lived in Michigan. And it was cold, it was nasty, I hated it up there. And I remember Dad getting stopped by the cops on the way back. I would fall asleep in the car and I was hoping we'd just get home before I woke up. And I woke up and there was a police car behind us and Dad got a speeding ticket. Somewhere in Wisconsin or something like that. I remember watching Batman. That's all we did at your house. We watched the old Batman series.
We didn't have it. We didn't have it.
And Laura always
We
wanted to
watched,
take
then she had something where you color on cloth and then you iron it or something like that, and it melts the crayon into it or something. And that's all we did. And then we took Laura for a walk around the cul-de-sac. And that's about all.
Boring trip.
I know. I remember waking up and having lights in the back. That was the first time I really thought cops were mean because I wanted to go home.
Eddie, do you remember any trips?
Yeah, I remember a couple of those famous early trips to Lake Texoma. And I remember going fishing.
Did you catch anything?
Yeah, I did. They just lay down on the shore there, and I just pick them up and bring them up. See what I caught? I'd find all these dead fish, and I'd bring them up. I was a little bitty guy, you know. I'm going fishing. I caught fish. And I'd bring them back, and I'd say, Mama, can we cook these? You know.
So like the bat you found and brought in the house.
Oh,
God,
I
it was
bats,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, yeah. Scared the heck out of Mom.
What was your most embarrassing moment, Ed?
See, most embarrassing moment.
Either at home or in front of your dates or your friends.
I think probably the most embarrassing moment was whenever Celeste and I were having an argument one day. This was when we were teenagers, and her boyfriend was over at our house. And Celeste and I got into a knockdown drag out about it. Of course, I'm a lot stronger than she is.
You bet.
And I think I picked her up and took her to her room. And of course, he got real embarrassed. I was pretty embarrassed that he was there to witness all this, you know.
not so much that it would have stopped you, though.
Nothing stopped me.
John, what do you remember as being most embarrassing?
Being born.
Embarrassing.
First time you looked in the mirror.
It wasn't embarrassing for me. It was kind of just sick. But Kathy and I were kind of made to. Mom put us in a tub together once. When we were a little bitty, and she took a poop. That was disgusting.
Kathy, did you tell him you're sorry?
Stop with the sorry
Mom had plugged the drain up so there was no. So it just floated out. Oh, man.
It's like brown trout.
Yeah. That was the worst.
Good old brown trout.
She would just sit baby, and I didn't want to take a bath with her, but Mom made me. And I hated it.
Mark, what was your most embarrassing moment?
He'd never admit it, whatever it is.
When I was
I got it out the
very
car.
young and didn't know any better, I made a recording on the tape player. I didn't really ever realize that it was going to haunt me.
To this day,
Somewhere in the archive, someone dug that tape up.
It was an accident.
They made copies and everything. Having to hear that thing.
It's on network TV next
Oh, that's hilarious.
Geraldo Romero.
yes.
Oh, it was on the. Oh, we'll play it. We'll play it.
You'll hate it.
Yes, you said we could.
After I leave.
I hate that tape.
Kathy, we've already heard what your most embarrassing moment was. What do you think is your second most embarrassing moment?
Having to sit around here where everybody talks about how embarrassing it is to be part of my family. That's what it is. You guys are always, you just talk about things that I did in front of people I know.
I have not said a single thing about you.
Yet.
Yeah, that's because I was gone most of the time. By the time you came around, I was overseas. You know?
Celeste, what was your most embarrassing moment?
Glenn and I had been dating for a long time, and he used to come over here to visit, and I'd bring Glenn with me, and we'd walk out to the walk, and this one and John, they would come running out of the house, and they'd come up and they'd grab Glenn around his knees and hug him and say, "When are you gonna marry my sister?"
Every
That
time.
one, every
Every time. They're just little bitties, too.
Well, you were cool back then.
Yeah, you bet.
Now I'm just an old geezer now.
I think he's still cool.
Now he's domestic.
Now he's a geezer.
Look what you have to look forward to, John.
He's a family man. He used to be
Ron,
cool. He was like an adult teenager or something. He was cool.
An adult teenager.
Talk to him about anything.
Oh, please.
Ron, what was your most embarrassing moment?
I'm trying to think of one. I don't know if I have one other than something that's in more recent. My wife's listening to this. I was
Carolyn,
I was
turn off that light next to you, okay? It's just
going out
messing
with
things
the
up.
girl that Greg had introduced me to, and we were just going to the symphony and things like this, and she was a nice girl and everything. We went skiing, and I remember one time one of her kids goes up to this girl and says, "Are you and Ronnie gonna get married?" And I was like, I didn't like her that well, and she was like, "Yes, yes." You know, I'm like, no. Don't say that. Anything like that. Don't say that. It was him. That's right. We won't name who it was, but his initials are Brian Nash.
Did you do that?
That was very embarrassing.
Carolyn, what's your most embarrassing?
I was pregnant with Laura, and I was still babysitting for John and Kathy, even then after I was married. And I went to the grocery store with John and Kathy in the grocery cart, right? And I was pregnant out here. And one of my high school teachers came up and said, "Oh, I didn't know you had 3 children." I said, "I don't. This is my brother and this is my sister." "Oh, yes." She said, She didn't believe me. She thought I was lying. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to throw you guys in the trunk.
Teacher.
It wasn't my fault. It's
One
because
of
you
my
had
high
dumb
school
teachers.
Sister Paul.
That's funny.
Carrie, what's your most embarrassing
I can
moment?
help
Mom
you.
and Dad took me and John and Kathy and Sherry up into the mountains one day, and there was this waterfall.
I remember
And we went, and Sherry and I went off, and
remember this
there was
too.
this big, huge rock in the middle of the waterfall, and Sherry jumped and made it. And she said, "Come on, come on." And so I jumped, and I didn't make it. And here I am, hanging on to dear life on this rock, and she's sitting there laughing. I'm screaming, "Go get Mom! Go get Dad!" And she's just laughing and laughing.
You're such a
And
prick.
I have never lived that down. Everybody always gives me a hard
Well,
time.
because we had to go home after that, because you had to put a blanket on and everything.
After that, Mom always made us bring an extra change of clothes.
We only been in the mountains a little while, and we had to go home after that.
My fault and Sherry's fault.
Kept whining.
Sherry made me jump.
She paid the first time.
You know, the gun in your head say you will jump.
Well, Carrie, what do you remember is the nicest thing someone did for you in this family?
Well, after Mom helping me go to school. That's the nicest thing.
Carolyn?
The nicest thing was Mom being so great when I was going through a divorce and getting married again and everything. I mean, she was pretty nice to me. She could have been pretty mean to me, but she was pretty nice to me.
Ron?
My dad, I kept bugging him when I was in high school because I was on the swim team and I needed transportation to go to swim practice at 5:30 in the morning. And I bugged him all the time. "Will you buy me a motorcycle? Look, Dad, here's one in the paper." And I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. One day on Saturday morning, I opened up the paper. I found one I wanted. I circled it. I said, "Dad, will you give me this motorcycle?" And I almost fell over. He said, "Yes." And he did. And that was the nicest thing. I still have it. I won't let anybody sell it. Mom tried to sell it. People would call and say, "Is that motorcycle still for sale?" I said, "No, it's not for sale." And I hang up. I still have it.
Celeste, what's the nicest thing that someone did for you?
Well, it's got to be the folks. When I got my first apartment, I was 19 years old, and Mom took me down and co-signed on my very first loan so I could buy a $150 stereo. I was so dependable. Then after that, she co-signed my car too, which was so.
Kathy, what's the nicest thing somebody did for you?
Everybody got together at my high school graduation, and Mom bought me a trip to Mexico, and Carolyn brought a picture of her graduation with me being the baby, and we had some fun with that one. And just everybody was just great at my graduation.
Mark?
We were always mean to Mark.
I guess when we put up a hammock when we were in Guilford Lane between the swing set and the tree, and I was sitting in it, and Ron jumped up on it. Instead of him coming up, the hammock came down. The swing set fell. He was still on his feet, so he made it, and I didn't, and it hit me in the leg. And Carolyn came out and carried me into the house.
I thought he was going to say when he kicked me with his cast, he got revenge. That was amazing.
Oh, that hurt my toes.
John, what's the nicest thing that you remember?
When I was going to Mullen, Celeste let me move in over there. To help out because I wasn't getting along and get over here. She let me stay there and she put up with all the garbage and teenager kids puts out. They put out all the junk.
You're a good kid.
She put up with all the bunch of.
Eddie, what's the nicest thing that someone did for you?
Well, I'd say that every single one of my brothers and sisters has always been real nice to me. Never had any problem. It's hard to pick out a nicest thing because I've been very blessed with some very kind and generous brothers and sisters, even though we fight from time to time. But probably the nicest thing, aside from brothers and sisters, has been the many times that I had financial fiascos with cars when I was in my teenage years, and Mom and Dad frequently bailed me out. You know, a lot of times I tried real hard to at least break even on buying the car and then reselling it. But every once in a while I'd come up and look for it, the folks would bail me out. And that's probably the nicest thing that ever happened because it left me free from heavy encumbrances at an early age, you know, where I'm not sure that I could have coped with it at the time.
I don't know, I think it sounds like a pretty neat family.
And Mom, we take our shoes off.
Give me a shoe! Give me a shoe!
Best shot.
Best shot! Ready? Ready? Go!
There must be something holy in the kind of matrimony that can hold a man and woman 40 years. It must be the spirit of the one who came to save us and is with us through our laughter and our tears. Certainly the two are one. Faith has brought you to a logical conclusion. Thank you for the love you've shown. Certainly the two are one. Heartaches come so often at the hands of those who love you, never meaning once to hurt you or make you fall. Joys have also found you and created in your spirit a relationship so envied by us all. Certainly the two are one. Faith has brought you to a logical conclusion. Thank you for the love you've shown. Certainly the two are one. In my heart I pray we all make it in our lives to have the strength and character you've shown. I have been convinced the secret to success like yours is faith in Jesus Christ and Him alone. Certainly the two are one. Faith has brought you to a logical conclusion. Thank you for the love you've shown. Certainly the two are one.
Any transgressions, my wholehearted apologies, and know that I love you all of you, including.
Just try to spend the next 40 years being nice to each other. That's all we ask.
Don't have anybody else.
Okay.
His daughter's quite a dancer. I know dance on her ride.
I got a song to sing all of this land. Criminal justice.
She won't be recent too, you guys. I'll make her work too.
Brothers and sisters, all of this land. Remember the sea. He may catch all the others, but he won't catch me. Not that bad. No, he won't catch me, stupid old slithery knee. He may catch all the others, but he... Done.
Where's your guitar?
It's all right. That's my potato dog.
I need a chair without arms.
This guitar does not like it. I'm sorry this isn't the mariachi entertainment you were expecting.
I thought that was 1 ton of mayo. 1 ton of mayo.
1 ton of mayo. That'd be a lot of mayo.
You gotta do the crab and the lobster song. And
I'm so lonely and cold, bitter and old, since my canary died. His cheering warble is still, gone is the trill, since my canary died. He'll never know I loved him so, though he was molting and looked revolting. I drink much more than I should. I'm just no good since my canary died. Oh, my canary, I miss you ever since that day you left me. I search all over for you. All through the evening papers, I look for some trace of you. That cat. I hate that cat. I took care of him for you, my canary, yes I did. I threw him out the window, but he always lands on his feet. I just threw him out the one time. 10 stories. Landed on his feet. Sure. Went down the stairs to see how he was doing, saw him waddling back up, going quack, quack, quack. You know he flies in paradise. Instead of tweeting, he dropped a greeting. I'm a cat. I sit alone in my flat. I just killed my cat since my canary died. I don't remember the words again.
Make them up.
Make them up.
leprosy.
What'd you say?
You read about Samson, you read about his birth. He was the strongest man that ever lived on earth. One day Samson was walking along. He looked down on the ground. He saw an old jawbone. He lifted up that jawbone. Just swung over his head.
We've got a few of
When he
those.
got to moving 10 down from there, if I had my way. If I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear this building down. Well, Samson met the lion and they got in attack. Well, Samson, he crawled up on that lion's back. You read about this this line, he killed man with his paw. Well, Samson, he got his hands around that lion's jaw. He ripped that beast till the lion was dead, and the bees made honey in the lion's head. If I had my way, if I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear this building down. Yeah, well, Samson met Delilah, she was fine and well. She had the good looks, God knows he pulled her hair. Delilah, she climbed up on Samson's knee. She said, tell me where your strength lies, if you please. She talked so fine, she talked so fair. Samson said, Delilah, cut off my head, shave my head down, over your head, just like a natural man. If I had my way, if I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear this building down. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way in this wicked world, if I had my way, I would tear this building down. Yeah.
Coming through.
Men's clothing I'll put on, I'll march as your comrade, as we go along. I'll march as your comrade, no one will ever know. Won't you let me Sunday, Monday is the day that your captain will call you. And you must obey your captain will call you. It grieves my heart so. Won't you let me go with you?
Around the same time.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. I cried. I think, oh, here, we'll give you this other
I fear you are unkind. I love you.
Gotta sing the crab song.
Oh, sing Harry and Sally. Harry and
Have to.
Sally.
Do you want to go by?
No,
No.
I was moving out.
Oh, they're moving it. Moving it
Yeah,
out.
but out there.
This is a love song. Well, Herman and Sally on the beach one night. The sea was calm and the starfish were bright. He looked at her and she looked at him, and it was true love at first sight. Now Herman told his folks about the girl he found, and they said, Herman, there must be a and Sally is a crab, kind of like what we got out here tonight. But anyway, this relationship is kind of like one of those that won't work out, you know. Herman is a Broncos fan, and Sally is a Redskins fan. And Herman's folks just do not like Sally. She's kind of crabby. So they said no, and he said okay, because he's a lobster and he has no backbone. Well, Herman told Sally, it broke her heart. She had loved that lobster right from the start. He took her in his claws and said, I'll always be yours, but still, we really have to part. Sally said, let's talk to your mom and your dad. I'll show them that the crabs really aren't that bad. Well, they turned her away, what would the neighbors say? And they laughed at the funny walk she had. 2, 3, 4. Crabs walk sideways and lobsters walk straight, and we won't let you take her for your mate. Well, one day on the beach, what did Herman see but his little old Sally walking straight as can be? Said, Sally, I can take you to my family. And she said, Herman, Tanya, sweetheart, me,